Geronimo is the newest and fastest growing tactical close quarters combat VR game on PCVR right now. It released July 10th in early access and has already achieved an overall very positive rating with 934 reviews. So for today's video, I played every mission in single player. I also spent some time in the multiplayer thanks to some super battle hardened warriors from the official Geronimo Discord. Oh fuck!
Dude, that shit hurt. Oh my god.
To help me bring you my thoughts on how Geronimo is, and I have to start by saying I think there's a combination of things that make the very positive rating on Steam actually spot on. First up, there's the price point of $20, which I actually think is really good for what's on offer right now. There's 8 or 9 missions that take place in North America, Europe, Asia and Africa, and this gives you some good environmental level variety ranging from snowy mountains, woodland and the desert. Every mission has random enemy placement too, which makes every mission you play different, at least so far in my testing, and this is a blessing because Geronimo's AI is a bit of a mixed bag, which I'll talk about more in a moment. Speaking of levels, there's one called Wet Work. Now when I saw this level I was immediately drawn to it due to it reminding me of GoldenEye and Onward, but this is visually the most disappointing level in the entire game, but let's see where it goes as the game progresses. Then we have the 6-player multiplayer, which was honestly a pleasant surprise, and so was being able to grab each other's weapons and make some funny hand gestures, which is what makes being social in VR feel pretty special. The customization for both the guns and your equipment loadout is excellent, with far more customization than I ever expected for an early access release. And what's really cool is in the multiplayer lobby area, each player gets a caged off section with their name above the door, so you can create unique loadouts if you wish depending on the mission. We have a very large training area with lots of variety and challenges, mostly based on speed and accuracy, but more importantly the gun models in Geronimo look wicked and the weapon handling does feel really good. The missions can all be played either by day or night, and this does change things quite a lot, and the current game modes on offer include a very straightforward eliminating of hostiles, rescuing a high value target, but I think this is only available on one map right now, and then there's rescuing the hostages. You can grab them on either shoulder and then lead them out of the building, but I also felt like I was using them as some sort of meat shield versus actually protecting them from any oncoming threats. Playing this game single player is tough because you are very outnumbered, and I don't think the game cares if you're playing solo or multiplayer, and this is probably due to it being early access, and there is also some frustrations with Geronimo that I want to go over. Firstly, the doors, which can be either kicked open, shotgunned or smashed open with the sledgehammer, definitely need some work. The second you touch a door handle you will most likely come under fire, and it doesn't take long to get down. But I want to add, dying in this game isn't as brutal as Tactical Assault for example, but it is close. Back to the doors, these are my biggest gripe with Geronimo in early access right now, and this may seem very trivial, but Geronimo is literally all doors, so seeing them randomly jump around or get stuck is a bit immersion breaking, so I really hope the developers put some time into making the doors work really well. Taking the enemy out through the doors though is really cool, and trying not to get killed while figuring out exactly where you got shot from is again really cool. There's been multiple times I've been killed by the enemy and have killed the enemy without even ever seeing them, and that's because I think Geronimo has some really good bullet penetration, but on some surfaces like concrete it does seem a bit hit and miss. But there's been a few times I've been standing in a enclosed concrete hallway and miraculously I've been seen and shot at by the enemy and taken damage, but the enemy is nowhere to be seen in my vicinity. But luckily this doesn't happen too often. What Geronimo does now though is pressure, especially in single player, and right now having 6 players online actually does seem a bit much to me, and it can make some of the levels feel pretty easy, but thankfully it's easy for you or your teammates to get downed, therefore keeping up the pressure. There's no leveling or experience to be gained, so the only reward for doing each mission is just not dying, which does concern me for longevity. And personally I've got no idea what the developers have in store for Geronimo on their roadmap, but after what I've played and the conversations I've had with my team, it appears the developers are working very hard to make the improvements based on player feedback. And while talking about feedback, I'd also like to quickly mention I'd like to see a change to the exit game option on the main menu to instead say quit game. I accidentally clicked this twice thinking it would put me back to the main menu, but obviously it just quit the game. Going back to the longevity, the moment you start Geronimo you have access to everything, which means the enemy AI is where this game's success for longevity lies, and currently I think it's a bit mixed. You do have the harsh reality of dying pretty quickly from headshots, and they can be good shots, especially when they spot you from far away. But sometimes they also just don't react to anything going on in the environment. For example, shining your light round a corner should probably cause some sort of response, or if one of the enemy is getting shot nearby. But right now, this game relies on line of sight. The enemy AI do reposition when they are shot at, but sometimes they just face a wall, even after being shot and knowing full well where you are. So basically, this is a very early access title in every way, but I have to say it is a bloody good one, especially when you're with a team who want to take this game seriously. It's in these moments it can feel very realistic. But in regards to the graphics, which are good, but they also aren't anything incredible. One of my gripes of Tactical Assault was always the graphics, but the game felt pretty polished in all other aspects. Geronimo, on the other hand, looks far more realistic, especially when it comes to the guns, but it also looks pretty indie, and the performance definitely needs some work. Certain levels feel pretty unoptimized, especially the Iranian embassy. See the frame rate drop considerably for no real reason. So far for me then, Geronimo has a very strong showing for an early access VR title, especially in terms of the multiplayer and the price of $20. And with that in mind, I do give it a buy recommendation. On the grounds, there's a lot of work to be done, but what is here right now is fun and it feels great to play. Well, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you ever so much for watching. Link to the game is in the video's description, and I'll see you on the next one.